Hello, everybody. So today we have the lovely Natalie, and I'm really excited to hop on and have a chat. Natalie has just had a roller coaster of an experience with her skin, and is finally at the other side. So it's really great when you have the capacity to be able to share your story, especially after going through such a roller coaster. So today, we're really chatting about how Natalie thought she was managing her eczema effectively, and then what happened when she was on topical steroids for long periods of time. So the dangers of that. So this is a big message that anybody who's gone through TSW like Natalie just wants to tell the world, because the aftermath of that, which you would have seen in her photos, is horrific. And then Natalie, the silver lining of that, now that we can talk about it, was realizing the impact of food on her eczema. But then that was a whole other journey of elimination diets, which was effective. So we'll chat about how that did help her manage her eczema, but then long term, how that created food anxiety and nutrient deficiencies, and is actually what was stopping her from healing. So we can have a little chat about how adding food, managing some of that food anxiety, getting to the root cause, has now gotten Natalie into a place where she can live a normal life. And everybody with eczema, just the main thing is, I just want to feel normal again. So most people would say, oh, live a normal life. But for us, when you've been in the depths of it, you're like, I know what that means. Yeah. And one of the powerful things that we were chatting about on one of the calls a few weeks ago, Natalie was like, oh, I could just have pancakes and I could just get something on the go. I could just grab sushi, which was the biggest win.
Life-changing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's hop in. And I always like to chat about where you get started, because that can resonate, or a lot of people can resonate with this. And this is all just spreading the word and kind of trying to help motivate and inspire other people. So let's start, Natalie, with growing up with eczema and that journey at the beginning.
Yep. So hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in. It is definitely a roller coaster, but it's something that I felt like this journey is something I stumbled onto, I say accidentally on purpose, because I had eczema all my life as a child, mostly on my face, neck, in the crooks of my arms and the backs of my legs. And it was just like an ongoing battle. I also had chronic asthma at quite a young age. So I don't know if one was feeding the other, or I just wasn't getting what I needed. My body was just, I don't know. But it was a struggle for my mum. Like, I feel for her. At the peak of I used to go to hospital quite a bit with my asthma, but at the peak of my eczema, after the asthma settled down, I remember my mum wrapping me in bandages, like just slathering on cortisone cream and just wrapping me up, and Glad wrap over the top, and then peeling it all off and cleaning it up in the morning. And just the smell is just, it like has stuck. It's like implanted in my brain. I wouldn't say it was uncomfortable. It wasn't a painful experience, but it was, just something that you deal with. Like, as a child, I couldn't change anything. My mum may have tried to be doing things. But like, it is what it is. She thought she was doing the best that she could. So steroid cream was just what she was told to use. I kind of grew out of the bad phase of that, kind of coming into high school. Like, my asthma settled down a lot. That wasn't really an issue. My eczema was just like every now and then, I had it constantly, but it wasn't, I just had it, would put a bit of cream on, it'd kind of resolve itself. If I got it again, put a bit of cream on. So it was always there, but it wasn't like, it didn't rule my life. It wasn't a big issue. And then that's just kind of how I went through life. Like, it was just eczema. I have eczema. That's what I have, and I just use cream. And I remember a lot of people in my kind of early adult life, particularly my husband's auntie, who had actually probably about 10 years ago gone through TSW herself, because she decided to stop using the cream, going on about how bad it was. And, it's like, it's this poison, like, don't put it on your body. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I've pretty much healed myself. Like, my eczema is just on my hands now. Like it used to be all over my
last words.
Yeah, you should have seen photos of me when I was little. Like it's just, and in my mind, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, it's not that bad.
It worked at that time.
Yeah, because in that moment, and I didn't feel like it was impacting my health. Like I was relatively fit and healthy. Like, yeah, I was in my 20s, as most people do, going out and drinking, but not like a lot. I wasn't much of a party person. But yeah, so I was just like, oh, a little bit on my hands because I'm washing them a lot, or, or if it gets hot and, I'm sleeping at night and my arms get itchy, put a bit on. In fact, I laugh in hindsight because, I'd get a mozzie bite, it's red. I've got a pimple, it's red. I'll put a bit of eczema cream because it takes the redness out of it. Like it was just my go-to, like it was
miracle
like
cream.
Yeah, it was. I was like, this is the best thing on earth. I'm like, I'm number one supporter. And then, which definitely wasn't helping. And then the pandemic happened at the start of 2020. And I had run out of my cream and I realized I didn't have a script. And I thought I'm gonna have to go to the doctor, get a script, blah, blah, blah. But there's this thing going on and, if you leave your house, you're gonna die. Like the way the media hypes it up, I thought, oh, it's just a little bit on my hands. I barely use it. I was putting it on maybe once a week, if that. I'll wait and see, and I'll see how things pan out with this virus, and then I'll go to the doctor if I need to. And then literally within 4 days, I was getting quite aggressive eczema on my arms. And within 2 weeks, it was like 80% of my body was covered. And I had, in those 4 days when it had started to flare up, my girls, I've got 3 daughters, my girls have a little bit of eczema here and there, which I treat with the over-the-counter steroid cream. I forget what it's called. Dermaid, I think it is.
Oh, Dermaid.
And I thought, oh, I'll just try and put a bit of that on. And it just was doing nothing, obviously, because it's so, it's not intense enough for what my body's used to. And yeah, it was just like a chain reaction. And just once it started, I couldn't stop it. It was just, and it went from my arms to down my back, all down my side, or my neck, face. My legs were kind of on and off. But yeah, mostly my upper body. And it was so red and angry. It looks like someone threw acid on me. Like it was just hot, burning, intense. Like it was crazy. Yeah. And so I was like, oh.
Yeah. It's crazy because it literally will just go like a wildfire. And then you realize that whole time, all it's been doing has been suppressing the eczema. And then there's that part of it. Because then you have to deal with the eczema after. And then it's also, your body becomes reliant on steroids, especially the strong ones. So the ones now, it's becoming a little bit more common. I'm hearing some doctors and dermatologists say only use it for 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks, not longer. But the thing is that this is common knowledge, because now people are going through their whole life with this experience and realizing, oh, this is a real thing, topical steroid withdrawal.
Yeah. And that was a light bulb moment for me, is that not only was I like uncomfortable and in pain, but I was angry, because I was like, I've literally been lied to my whole life. Here's me thinking I'm doing the right thing. My eczema is getting better. Like I'm putting it on. I'm using it responsibly, because I was never told. Like I was obviously in that generation where that was the cure for eczema. And so there was no, only use it for 2 weeks, 10 days. I remember my sister-in-law telling me that. And I said to her, but even these days for someone with eczema, that's not logical, because at the end of the day, it's still a Band-Aid. So it's always going to come back. They're going to use it for 10 days. It might be good for 2 days, 3 days a week, and then it's going to come back again. So, because they're not fixing the problem. So it just made me so angry. I was like, how are these people just peddling this cure without really looking into it and seeing what it's doing, or being honest, I thought, these people, that's their job. They should know what eczema is and how it works in the body. But it's, all they do is, steroid cream. And it's just, even now, like even all the specialists and doctors you go to, that's their answer. It's like they're either not educated or they don't really want to tell you what the problem is. It's very frustrating.
That's the hard part about it, is because that's the gap between conventional medicine. And what I try and educate people is that conventional medicine, it's based off diagnosing a condition and using medications. Those are the tools that they have. It's not, luckily now it's with nutrition, naturopathy, it's okay, let's understand that root cause. So I do have compassion, because I've worked, like some of my colleagues who are doctors, they had to educate themselves on, like, so the ones that I work with are integrated, and they see the body as a whole and getting to the root cause, and gut, skin, and brain connection. But they had to educate themselves, because in conventional medicine, that's not how they're trained, which it will change. I'm very hopeful at some point, but now that's where there's a gap. And it is frustrating, because people will come and then they'll go through TSW, and then they'll have a friend ring up and say, what is wrong with you? Like, okay, let's help you. Okay, I know this dermatologist, go see them. And they're like, what are you doing? Just take the steroids. So then people are like, oh, hang on, am I supposed to take the steroids? And then they go back, it's just this push and pull. So it's hard. Yeah, it's really hard when you're being told by an authoritative figure that you should be using it, and you're silly not to. But then you can feel in your body that, okay, it's not working, because this is the aftermath. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And you do, and you feel like you're going silly, because you go to these professionals. Like, I went to the GP. The GP was my first stop. And I said, this isn't normal. Like, what is this? And he goes, oh, that's eczema. Just put cream on. It wasn't I couldn't get in with my usual GP. And I said, yeah, I know. But I said, and I've had eczema all my life, and I've never had eczema like this all my life. Like, it's just, I'm like, I would need a truckload of cream to fix this. Like, this is not normal. And he was like, well, that's the answer. That's, and so I thought, I'll wait a little bit, see how it pans out. I went and saw a dermatologist, and I thought, he's an expert in skin. Of course, he's going to know about it. And to even mention TSW to him was like, just went straight over his head. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, you need steroids. And I said to him, but I'm here seeing you because I don't want to. Like, I've been to the GP. They've said the same thing, but I'm coming to you. Tell me why this is happening. It's happened because I've stopped. So clearly there's a link. And he was like, yeah, no, like oral steroids and topical steroids, because it's like really bad. And I literally couldn't leave until I said to him, yeah, okay, like, just give me the script, like, because he wouldn't give me any other option. So I took the script just to get out of there, pretty much. And then I went home, and I like cried to my husband. I was like I'm never going to get out of this. Everyone's telling me to put cream on, and I'm very stubborn. So once I get an idea in my head, and my idea was, this is not helping me. It's been a Band-Aid. Why would I ever go back to it? Like, that's the definition of stupidity, isn't it? They say, doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Why would I go back there? It's just, And so, I just kept going, pretty much looking for answers. Yeah.
Well, I want to congratulate and honor that stubborn part of you. Because a lot of people,
good and a bad thing.
Yeah, totally. Your husband might say different. But a lot of times, I've seen it so often where people will continue doing the same thing, and they're like, but I've tried everything, I'm doing all these things, but it's, if you keep getting that same result, I call it the cycle of insanity, right? You have to change what's not working. And it's hard too. But sometimes it takes going through rock bottom, and that's most people when they get to that chronic eczema stage, which also one of the takeaways too is, like, don't let your eczema get to that chronic stage. So you have to go through all of this, because it's rough, right? It takes away, like for you, it's took away a year of life. Thank God it was during lockdown, the silver lining. But
thank God. I would not have been able to function. Like, I would not have been, doing school drop-offs, work, anything. It's it's bad.
Okay, so thanks for sharing that. So let's chat about the aha moment after you got out of the TSW and the steroid withdrawal phase. So the tough part is with TSW is that you have to go through the withdrawal. So your body reacting and trying to come off, depending, your blood vessels have to essentially reprogram themselves, coming off the steroids, and then you have to deal with your eczema that you had since you were a kid. So you
Yeah.
would have had this state of dysfunction in your body since childhood that you were just suppressing. So the next chapter in terms of your healing and your eczema journey, yeah, tell us a little bit about your aha moment and connection with food.
Yeah. So I was probably almost maybe nearly 9 months into the TSW, and I was trying like creams, no creams. I was thinking about food because I was doing a lot of reading and stuff in it. But at the end of the day, whether I ate something or didn't eat something, the outcome was no different. So I assume in that state, it was just, my body going through the motions. So I just I got to the point though where 8 months in and it was still excruciating. And I went in and I thought, I'm going to go and see a naturopath, because my husband's auntie who had done the TSW thing said naturopath saved her life. And I thought, all right, well, I've done the doctors. I'll go to the naturopath. And he was really good. He gave me a different perspective. He's the one that brought in the notion of it is in the gut, and your body is has never had to create this hydrocortisone or whatever it was. It's been given it all its life. It's never had to do it itself. So it's your body's in a state of shock. So it was good because it gave me a new way of thinking. And I thought, okay, we're gonna get the ball rolling here. Like he knows what's, this is the first person that didn't think I was stupid for stopping steroids. And he had that more holistic approach. Like, I'm not gonna, push the steroids. He goes, I've told people to use them if they need to, like if it's gonna help them get to the other side. But he's like, if you're in that moment where you don't want to, then we'll just deal with it as it is. So it was nice thinking that I wasn't stupid, that there was another way around it. And it was just, and that although with him, he wasn't too focused on food either. Like I kept saying to him, because he gave me a list of, I said, can you give me a list of things I can or can't eat? I wanted to do like allergy testing. And he was like, oh no, like we got to address some other things first. And then we'll get on to food. But it's like food, he's like gluten-free, dairy-free, something else, I don't know what it was, maybe low sugar or something. So that's when I'd started going off dairy, and I started doing almond milk and eating gluten-free bread, and just kind of honing in my diet to more natural foods. So just eating whole foods, fruits, vegetables. Which was difficult because I had to cook a meal for my family, and then I had to try and figure out what I was going to eat in this field of like never having to eat like that before. So at one stage before I saw the naturopath, when I started seeing him, I was just eating gluten-free toast and an apple. Like it was just, I was like, I'm just going to eat nothing and see if that helps. But that's
so desperate.
But he was still like, no, you can eat like tomatoes and spinach and this and that. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I feel like I get a reaction when I do that. So in the back of my mind, I was kind of half doing the food stuff and then half following his way. But it got to about 8 months and I had some improvement. But after 8 months, it wasn't like, it was only maybe 50% better. Like it was still quite like extensive and red. And I was just shedding skin. Like I would take off a piece of clothing and I've read a term somewhere called snowing, like it was snowing. Like I would have just skin around me on the floor. Like I could literally sweep up a pile of skin. Like my skin was just still obviously trying to heal itself. And in some of the photos you've seen, I get that puffy elephant skin. Like it was so like just needed to try and retain that fluid. And then, I could barely bend my hands or fingers because they were so swollen. And so I thought to myself, well, after 8 months with him, it's not working. I'm just going to go solo and I'm going to go with this food thing because I feel like it's the way to go. And then that's when I came across the Karen Fisher Eczema Detox diet. And that was a bit of my aha moment because there were some supplements that she had suggested to take. And then she just suggested to cut out certain foods, including nuts. And I think in hindsight, when I saw the naturopath and I went gluten-free and I started drinking almond milk, that was a big trigger because nuts were not friendly to me. So I think, unintentionally, what he thought he may have been helping me with wasn't, because he wasn't really addressing what the problem was. So had I, now I can drink milk. Like I ended up stopping with the almond milk and the oat milk and everything that kept triggering me. I just drank normal milk and my conditions got so much better, like when I started the program with you. And so I thought, had I just been doing that, had I just been having normal milk and maybe eating some of the things, like his program may have helped me a bit more. But, these things you come across, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But I thought to myself, food is the key here. Like I need to do something with food. And so, I started on that diet, and that's what led me to the whole elimination diet thing.
Yeah. And this is where it is all individual too, because some people are reactive to it, but you just have to listen to your body. And that's like with everybody that starts the program, it's okay, give me a magical diet. There's so many different therapeutic diets. There's some people that are in carnivore. For you, it was more of like the eczema diet. And it is just, your body's going to tell you if it likes it or not. You're going to feel it. I mean, it gets, when you're in that state of dysfunction, right? If somebody's closer to like at the beginning of their journey, you're not as reactive. But when your body is yelling out through rashes, it's going to tell you if it likes it or not. And you do just need to be listening to your body. Yeah. Okay. And so you ended up doing the eczema diet. I did that one too, which is very restrictive. It takes a lot of determination and strength to do that one. But I was the same too. I created that neural pathway where it's like, okay, if I eat this food, it's going to give me a flare up. Don't eat it. And then it's a little bit of that food anxiety picture.
Absolutely. 100%. That was me. And I thought, my stubborn nature, I was like, if I'm going to do this, like I was barely eating stuff as it was, but then, and it would get to the point where, I was eating gluten-free toast and an apple, but then because I was so hungry, I would just end up eating like a massive spaghetti bolognese, which obviously wasn't good either, whatever I was making for the family dinner. And then that would be worse. So I was like, and so when I came across this diet, I was like, right, 110%. I'm just going to follow it. Like it mapped out the stages, like how you had to do it and what you had to reintroduce. And I got most of my success in that elimination phase. And I still had it was still red and inflamed, but it was not, it was red, but not inflamed. Like it was in that dry phase, like just, peeling skin, and it was just a dull red. So I thought, it's doing something, like I've stumbled across the right thing. I'm going to keep going with it. And then the anxiety started when I had to start doing the reintroduction, because I was reading up in her book, and she has she breaks it down into amines or histamines and salicylates and nitrates and all these things, so that you can kind of try and identify what your triggers might be. And all of the things that I'd found triggers were all histamine stuff. So then I had like an A4 piece of paper. I've got it still stuck on my wall. I don't know why, of all the things I couldn't eat. And it was like almost everything I'd grown up on in my whole life. Like tin tuna, any kind of stock or meat or leftover meat, any kind of, I used to steer clear of the oranges, apples, strawberries, because I knew that acidity had an issue. But just, I looked at the list and I was like, I eat these on a daily basis, like my whole life. So I was like, I've been doing this wrong my whole life. This is why I am where I am. But after starting your program, I understand the histamine aspect of it is because of the inflammation. So like, she doesn't explain that in her book. But then I said to my husband when I was doing the program, I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to eat anything again. Like I'm literally allergic to all of these foods. And then every time I had anxiety, because the first thing you had to test was histamine stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll jump it and I'll start like salicylates. I'll start low. But every time I ate something new, I'd have a flare up. Like it wasn't intense, but it was noticeable. And so I kept going back, and for a week, waiting for myself to heal in that no food, phase. And then I'd try something else, flare up. And I was like, oh my God, like literally I'll be living on chicken, brown rice and iceberg lettuce my whole life. And then, like my gums were bleeding. I had no energy. It was just like, and there was no joy in life. I was like, I love being social and cooking and eating, and I know a lot of people do, but I'm European, so that's like our life. Food is like life. So, I want to go out and have a coffee and have brunch with friends, or if we're on holiday, go to a restaurant or get takeout once a week. Or I was like, what kind of life is this? I'm just like existing. It's not life. And then someone, I was just saying to you before, like my angel, messaged me separately as part of this eczema detox group and said, you should try seeing Alicia. And I thought, in the back of my mind, I thought, I'll if this doesn't work, like I'll look into it. And then it got to the point where it wasn't working, and I was like, okay, Alicia, I'm gonna had a look. And I remember reading up about when I Googled your name and looked up about the program and everything, and it's eating a rainbow and using food as medicine. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm allergic to all that stuff. Like, this isn't going to help me. I don't know. Like, I'll give it a go, but like, this lady's crazy. I can't eat the rainbow. Yeah. Like, I can barely eat just white food. Yeah. But I was desperate. And, at the start of the program, most people, this is my last option. Like, I felt like I'd tried everything. So I was like, I'm going to reach out. This person's told me it's good. It's the only time I've had someone, and you need that information. You need someone to tell you this worked for me, because it's the whole journey is a minefield, like, in my worst part of TSW, like I would freak out about putting on my gown or something if it had dust on it. Like, I remember putting a dress on that I hadn't worn in a while, and my neck just flared up. I thought maybe because has it got dust on it? Like, I do just get like so germophobic. Like, I open a window and wash my hands because there's dust on the windowsill. Like, everything, I was vacuuming like crazy, like a crazy person. You get yourself
into the world
state. But there's no one to tell you any different. There's you just think, I've just got to find out what the issue is. So it was like a little gift to have been given your name. So and then it all starts from there pretty much.
So did you have any hesitations apart from me talking about the rainbow and you're like, that is not me?
No hesitation. No. I was like everything. I'm like, I'm just going to go and give it 110%. Like, if there's got to be method to the madness. And I actually reached out and I sent an email, and Megan got back to me. And I remember toing and froing with her, and I was like, I don't know if this will work. Like, or, actually I might just wait because the kids were doing homeschool, and I was like, I don't know if I have time for a program. And it sounded just really like kind of intense. And I thought, and in my day-to-day, like the type of person I am, I'm go. Like I run on, I don't feel like it, but in hindsight after the program, I like run on fumes. Like I start the day and then I end the day and I'm like, that was a big day. I'm not the kind of person that stops and just sits and reflects or is in the moment. Like, I'm just moving through the motions. Like, keep 3 kids alive, can I eat 3 meals today? Like, that's it. that's like the top of my list. I was like, can I invest this much time? But the thing is, what you learn is that you need to say, okay, I need to invest this time in myself. Because if I don't, no one else will. So, and I need to invest that time in myself so that I can have better time with my family and all my other people. So, I ended up, I said, I'll wait a couple of weeks and I'll let you know, to do a meeting. And then I think later that day or the next day, I was like, just book me the meeting. Like, I'm desperate. Just get me in. Just get me in. I'll do it. I'll make time. It's fine. So I was a bit hesitant. I was like, I don't know. But best decision ever. So it's great.
Yeah, it's interesting because you'll hear something and it resonates, and we have like all these different parts of us, right? So there's that part that's motivated to do something, but then you'll have another part comes up that, hang on, I don't have time. I'm a mom, I'm working, I have to do all these things. Like, I don't have time. But like something that's really powerful that you said is that you like a realization that, okay, I need to invest in myself and put myself first, prioritize my health so I can help others. And
Yeah.
that's a really big thing. And people, I always say people with eczema, my observation is like, we're all carers. And it is like, from a psychologist's point of view and the brain skin connection, it's because it's lack of boundaries with yourself, which is go, 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 doing for other people. And then with others as well, not being able to say no. And you realize like from the program so far, when we talk about your drops in the bucket, that was your flare up bucket, that go, 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 that's going to be one of the biggest ones. Obviously food and steroid, all that. But that part, which everybody just breezes over. And sometimes people even go like halfway through the program. Some people don't even take it on board, but the people that do it definitely have the biggest results. But it's hard, like,
Absolutely.
juggling a family life, like, there's lots happening. So well done for prioritizing yourself. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's paying off. So it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And like, it is hard too, because when you're in that level of suffering, we were saying at the beginning of the call, you have all these different cycles. So you had this, okay, food, okay, if I remove these foods, my skin feels better. And because there is that trauma response of having chronic eczema, so then whenever you think about adding food, you can think your way into a flare up that way. So you have that food anxiety every time you eat. So that's 3 times a day. And then also compounded when you want to reintroduce food, you can get that stress response. And then we know that there's that stress eczema flare up cycle, where just getting stressed out can make you itchy, but then having anxiety makes you itchy too. And then we were saying that like the social part of it, oh, I want to be able to go out and have dinner, right? And that causes more stress. And it's literally all these different cycles feeding into each other, which is hard. That's a lot in your brain.
Yeah. And in the moment then, like with that food anxiety, you think, well, is it, in hindsight, now that I know about the connection, was it the food or was it the anxiety? Well, I was probably fine to eat that I don't know, grape, but now because I've worked myself up about it, my body's like, the repercussion of that has come through, and then I think, oh, I can't eat grapes now. It's just it's insane. And even now, like, I'm getting better at it, but I still have reservations. Like I won't work myself up about it, but I'm trying to not think about it when I eat food. Like, just eat it. Don't think, I haven't had this before, what's going to happen? In the back of my mind, I'm like, no, stop. Just do it with conviction and you'll be fine.
Because when you do it and you're just waiting for that flare up, that's when we think ourselves into the flare up. And one of the things, it's just think about the nutrients that it's providing, and like, it's a test, right? And one of the things that we've been chatting about with you is that, okay, there's dysfunction in your body. So there's that stress portion, absolutely. Column A, column B, but then there's also the dysfunction too. So it's like the gut, so if it's the brain skin and it's also the gut skin, and you've had immune conditions your whole life. So there would have been imbalance. And then also having a non-ideal, I don't like to say bad diet, but a non-ideal, probably nutrient poor diet most of your life.
Absolutely. And like, having now eaten how I'm eating, when I remember my sister-in-law saying, do you eat a lot of processed food? And I was like, no, thinking, I don't eat a lot of takeaway. But when you're eating things from cans and packets and like not whole foods, then that's processed foods, like, you don't think about it in that way. Like, now I kind of have to read a label to see how whole the food is. Like, if it's got things added to it, that's processed. Like, it's not, I'm not going to go there, or, only have a little bit, or it's made me really rethink food, which before, you cook like, I don't know, like either your parents have, or like I use a lot of recipes. So I just cook like from recipes, and I don't think about where the food's coming from or what I'm putting in there, or instead of using this, I should use this because it's better. It's been really fulfilling to have that food knowledge at the forefront, not just, and then trying to implement that with my kids and my husband and stuff. So it's beneficial for everyone.
Yeah. And that's a silver lining because most people, a lot of the moms in the program, their kids have eczema too. So the silver lining is now you have the tools and you can teach your kids and you can implement them instead. So
Yeah.
like, because that's the thing is that, and I was saying this on the calls that, and when we're going through your test results, is that my colleague who specializes with children with eczema, they look at GI maps and they have the imbalance when they're a kid with kids with eczema. So all of us that had it when we were young will never be able to know, but it's a good probability that we were living with all these gut overgrowths and this imbalance our whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like my kids are snack city. Like they could live on snacks, you know, and I'm trying to get them just 3 meals a day. You know, it's easy to go to the cupboard and grab a snack. Especially if I'm busy or I'm working. Like the pandemic hasn't been favorable in having kids home and working, and it's hard. Like, but you know, it's just makes me, you know, more present with them with their food. No, don't have that. Have a yogurt or, you know, have a piece of fruit, or which I would say anyway, but I'd probably be more relaxed previously about them grabbing a snack. Whereas now I've got more like ammunition of like, no, don't need that. You don't need that. Too much sugar, too much process.
Well, they're very lucky that they have a forward-thinking mom, and that you've taken your health into your hands. So well done.
Thank you.
Okay, so actually, what was it like for you? Because you got to a point, I remember you sent a message. You're like, okay, we're halfway through the program, and you wanted to do some of the testing. So, I think, we did. Some people choose to do it at the beginning and some were halfway through. What was that like for you? Because we got a lot of information back on the test. So
it was amazing. I'm an information person. Like I was saying before about I'll take things on board and I might not necessarily action it straight away, but it kind of stays there. And if I need it, I kind of grab it out. So I thought I'm going to start and I want to find out what the problem is. Because at the start of the journey, I thought, well, I haven't been fixing the problem. Like this cream's been a band-aid. So what's the problem? So I was right into doing all the testing and finding out some solid answers about what's going on in my body. It was so eye-opening. I remember we were going through the test and I was like, there's not supposed to be anything in that column, is there? And it was like full and you're like, no. So I was like, oh, like if I was a high achiever, you know, in the bad things, I would have been like top of the class. But it's good to know. And it's also good to know that there's things in there that it doesn't matter. And there was an aha moment for me with that testing, was that it didn't matter how much I tried to do it on my own. There was always going to be something there that needed specific attention. So I kind of reinforced that I'd done the right thing and been on the program, because I would have only got so far, and I would have only ever been 50%, you know, like I would have probably had manageable eczema and a manageable life, but it wouldn't have been close to normal, because that would have always been there, that issue in the gut with the bacteria. So like it was great. And it's good for me because I need answers. I'm very much a pragmatic person. So now I know, okay, I can do this, and that's, you know, that's what I do. It's good.
It's especially for that type of mind. Like I'm the same. I'm like, okay, where's the data? Let me see what I'm working with. But it can be very motivational for people where it's like, okay, this is what I'm working with. And then this is what I need to be doing. And it is a process. And as much as food is medicine, like that's, you know, ideal world. And we work towards that. But when your body's been in a state of dysfunction for your whole life, then that's where like the supplements come in, right? We need to kickstart the engine, and some of those overgrowths, you can't starve them out, and you just can't. And like, you need to go in and have a protocol. So it is good. And it is something where, and I recommend to you, we can chat about this more, but you go back to those like later on as well, because sometimes if you're ever having a hard day, I've done that with quite a few people where it's like, okay, let's actually go back and see what we're working with, because you might be 3 months or even 6 months down the line. Like it's taking me years to get to the point where like,
Yeah.
I just get a bit itchy. And then when you're like, oh yeah, this is what I was dealing with. Okay. I understand that it does take time. And it's also, and something that you've been good at is, and maybe that's the stubborn part, but, like you haven't been like, okay, I need results right away, or you haven't voiced that to me at least. Maybe it came up a couple times in your head. But you have known that it is a slow process. Because like with adding in food, you've been patient and understanding that, these are just all the things that we need to be doing. And it isn't just food. It's not just supplements, it's lifestyle too. So it's following the process.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the part of the program that I don't think I would have ever, only would have ever been 50% if I didn't join, because food would have got me a certain part of the way. But then there's also the brain skin connection. Like I would have never, when I first saw you, and even the naturopath said the same thing to me, is like, oh, are you stressed? And I said, no, like I don't stress. Like I just do. Like I'm easygoing. I just
that's the red flag.
I deal with it. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not stressed, but then my body was under stress. My mind wasn't, but my body was, because I wasn't taking the time to be in the moment and listen to my body. So, now that if I'm having a busy day or something's happening, sometimes I stop and I take that deep breath and I go, okay, I needed that, or a few breaths. I needed that, because there was a post on, I don't know if it was the program group or the general group. One of the girls posted, she never used to breathe. And I feel like, and that resonated with me, because you in that moment when that realization happens, when that light bulb goes off, you think, I don't stop and actually take the deep breath. Like I'm just doing, like I don't, and I'm just surviving. So that's a big part of helping like get through it all as well. So it's like I said, eye-opening. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy that like most people, and I catch myself doing it too, you just breathe from your chest, right? Your lungs go all the way down, and it's panic breathing, right? So that sends a message to your brain that you're in fight and flight survival mode. So then that changes your whole physiology in your body, and that takes you out of a healing state. And that's like when we talk about getting to the root cause, there's multiple root causes. That's a big one. Like when we talk about the gut brain connection, right? It's all connected. So yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I hope that was helpful for other people, just hearing about where you were, the trial and error, learn from those mistakes, some of the things that have helped you. So I guess now, I mean, you're still healing, and healing takes like I said, it's taken me years. But now that you can see, light at the end of the tunnel, you have experienced normal life again. Like, how has this affected you day to day?
Oh, it's amazing. Like I can be so much more involved in the day-to-day things with my kids and with work, and my mind is not like in that time for such a long period, I was just thinking about my skin. Like it just consumed me. So, because it hurts so much, and what am I doing? And I can't do this and I can't do that. Now I don't think about it. Like it just is. All I have to think about is eating right and and trying to breathe and really like focus on making sure I'm paying attention, and not all the time, because it's not possible, but most of the time. And even lifestyle. I remember when we started as well, you said, what's the favorite thing that you do, or like a ritual? And I said, a long hot shower. And I remember you laughing. You're like, oh, okay, great. And like, what's your me time? That's what it was. What's your me time? And I was like, at the end of the day before I go to bed, I just stand in the shower for like 20 minutes and zone out. No more. Like now I shower every second day, and I'm literally in for 5 minutes to do what I need to do, and I'm out again. So and that's been life-changing, because I'm not wasting 2 hours, at the end of a day having a shower, putting on cream. I've stopped using moisturizers because I don't need to. Like my skin's just doing it itself. It's still dry here and there. Like I probably still need a bit of assistance every now and then, but I still feel like it's early days. Like you said, it's a lifestyle, lifetime. I've had this for all my life. I probably will have it all my life to some degree. It's just finding the right balance. So yeah, and dealing with the problem as much as we can. So yeah, just it's impacted literally every aspect of my life. So it's, yeah, but it's great because now I've gone from being consumed by it just to being, like living. It's good. And if, you know, if I do want to grab sushi from the food court, I can. I don't have to feel guilty, because the big thing was guilt as well. I'm like, oh, you know, I just ate that pasta. That's gonna, you know, tomorrow I'm gonna regret that. You know, now I can go and have, you know, pancakes. It's our little thing. We take the kids to pancake power at the end of term. You know, I can have a pancake and not feel too guilty about it. I might get a bit itchy, but whatever. Like, I know it's because I've eaten that. Or, you know, like just giving myself a bit of grace, like not putting too much pressure. Yeah, and the flow and effect is good. I'm happy. The kids are happy. I think hubby's happy. He's happy because I'm happy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, it's amazing. And just, I never thought I would, my skin, this is the best I've ever had skin in my life, like literally, because I've always had eczema. So yeah, I never ever in a million years thought I would ever be like this. So yeah, if I stayed in this state the whole rest of my life, I would be happy. You know, and I think it's only going to get better. So
yeah,
it's just great.
Yeah, we haven't even addressed a lot of the stuff that's come back on your test yet. So we still have, there's still going to be lots of changes. So, which is exciting. Yeah.
So thank you. That's all I can say. Like, miracle.
Yeah. And I really, really want to thank you because when you talk about a really traumatizing experience, because this is TSW is probably, well, not probably, would be one of the hardest things that you'll go through in life. So just by talking about it, we had spoken about this on the call, is that can re-trigger, and this is part of like the brain skin connection, thinking back to that time can literally create the same nervous system response in your body. So it is really powerful to be able to go through an experience and then talk about it, spread the word, but it is also like a lot to be going through what you went through again. So I really want to thank you. Thank
you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So do you have any last words of encouragement for anybody who's maybe at the beginning or doing the diets or at anywhere in their journey?
I just think if they think they've done all they can still do more. Like, it's difficult in that moment when you're exhausted and when you think you've tried everything. But I think if they're already on the page for this group, then they're already going in the right direction. So if they're watching this and they think they can't do it or they're stuck in a rut, just get into the program. Like, just do it. I know sometimes it's hard, or you think you might not be able to stretch yourself, but you can, and it's worth it. Like, personally, I think that you're only going to ever get 50% if you don't invest in the program and really understand the psyche and the logic and assess the root cause. Is for me personally, like, just do it. If you think you can't, you can.
Those are great words of wisdom. And what you had said as well, at one point of your life, you just thought, oh, this is my life, this is how I have to live, but it's not.
Yeah, not at all. I would have never, like I said, accidentally on purpose, and it's the best and worst thing that's ever happened to me. So my kid's being born, it's the best thing, but, but this is very, very close. It's right up there.
Oh, well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for hopping on, sharing your story. There is some great pearls in here. So anybody who's watching, if you have any questions for Natalie, feel free to pop them in the comments. Thank you, Natalie. And
no worries. It's been a pleasure.
See you in the group.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.